so rich and crisp.
So how many billions do you represent?
Long ago, when I did my first movie that was an adaptation of a novel, it was The Dead Zone, Stephen King's Dead Zone. And I realized that it's impossible, really, to make a movie of a book. Exactly, you can't do it. You must accept that you are creating a new thing when you create a movie, even if it's based on a book. Once you accept that, then when you're adapting a novel, there are things that you know will not work. Of course, if people haven't read the book of Cosmopolis, they won't know what I'm talking about. But for example, the character that Paul Giamatti plays in the movie, in the novel he writes a journal. And we read the journal, and we are reading the thoughts of this character. I just leave it out, because there's no way that I can do that cinematically. So instead of his journal, I give you Paul Giamatti's face, his voice, the way he moves. That's my cinematic equivalent of something that was done in the book. And yet the dialogue remains, you know, the actual speaking words that are almost identical in the book and the movie. That I could keep exactly. In a way, it felt like I was making a documentary of life as we were living it while we were shooting the movie, you know? I mean, there was the economic crisis and the Occupy Wall Street movement, and we were shooting that while it was happening. So it was a complex, complete world, really.
I kind of tried to keep not trying to define what it was about in my head. Because my first instinct about it, it's so funny. I read it the first time and I was like, I don't understand this at all. I mean, everyone I got to read it, they're like, what are you talking about? You don't understand. It's really obvious what it's about. And the more I thought about it, and I told David, I was just like, I don't get it. No one understood why I didn't get it. Everyone had such a strong opinion about what it was. I mean, I started to think like, well, actually, I kind of like the fact that I don't get it, and like, and that's probably what's interesting about it. And so I kept trying to force myself not to understand anything. Like every single line, you're just trying to get to the point where you're lost.
I want a haircut.
Do you need a haircut?
I need anything you can give me.
Such science and ego.
How do you play a rectal examination dialogue scene?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of... That was one of the scenes in the script where I was like, well, this is never going to be in another movie ever again. It was just kind of one of the more embarrassing things I've done, especially when our faces are this close. Like, it's incredibly bizarre. So Dave's got quite a strange sense of humor about it. So like, when we were doing the prostate exam, and he's like, yeah, I kind of want you to be naked in it, and I just want to see the bottom of your balls, like at the top of the screen. And I was like, really, seriously? And he's like, and so like, literally like 2 minutes before the scene, I was like, I can't do that. I can't do it. It is scary though, doing like a thing where you're just in it the whole time. It's hard to watch. Like last night I was watching it kind of like, as soon as Paul Giamatti came in at the end, where I was like, thank God, it's just 20 minutes of someone else speaking. We did it quick. We had 4 days, I think, to shoot it, and we did it in a day and a half, which is crazy. It's like, it was 20 pages of dialogue. I mean, to do that in a day and a half, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I mean, the way it was written was just two guys sitting opposite each other, and there's a table between, and it was just them talking. And so all the movement came, it just, when we got onto the set, it just seemed like, just there was interesting things around. There just interesting things that looked interesting on the set, and it suddenly created these different meanings. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be like their relationship. The relationship between me and Paul was not supposed to be what it is in the movie. I mean, it's like they love each other in the movie, and they hated each other in the script. It's like and there was supposed to be a big separation. But the bit when they're like holding hands and stuff, like when I shoot myself in the hand and hold it, like, it became this really strange thing. And I think it was just because we were just going so quick, and we were just doing one take, move on to the next thing. So anything interesting, anything, you know, your first instinct is just in the movie.
You need to be inflamed, don't you? This is your element.
I was a big science fiction person when I was growing up, and I loved scanners. I had a scanners poster on my wall and stuff. It's so weird working with people who you've kind of, you know, there's you know, you're so familiar with them, they're like, it doesn't make any sense when they become part of your world.
In many ways, your actor, Robert Pattinson, can be seen as a young Viggo Mortensen, I mean physically speaking. Is it something I think of? Is it something you were thinking of by casting him?
It's true that I have a very strong aesthetic sense when it comes to faces, you know, and there's no rationale for it. There's some actors I see on screen are very good actors, but somehow I'm not interested in working with them. And other actors like Viggo, like Rob, it's not just that they're handsome, it's something else. There's a charisma, there's a sort of interesting eccentricity. They're not perfect, you know. And I often think of it as I don't want a leading man, I want a character actor, you know, who is somehow charismatic enough to be the lead actor in the movie. But so I'm aware of this, that there's some kind of similarity amongst all my actors. It's just an intuitive thing, you know, there's no rationale.